prayer. This is something you've probably already done before, even though you might not be a Christian or may not even believe in God, but you found yourself in a situation where you desired a specific outcome, reached out to a higher power, and did not know that they were actually listening to you. You got an answer. It might have been the answer you liked, might have been the answer you didn't want, but it was an answer all the same, and in all likelihood, you took it for granted. But how do we change from praying because we want something and because we find ourselves in a state of need to praying as a means of relationship building? Well, that's what we're going to discuss today. But who am I to talk to you about this? I'm a nobody. My name is Stuart Davis. I'm a deacon at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a biblical scholar, and I haven't gone to seminary. What I am is an average person, trying to give you an average person's outlook on how we do different things as being in Christianity. And maybe you'll find this as a good resource for yourself. So, without further ado, let's continue. Prayer. How do you speak to a deity? How does one talk to the God of the universe? Well, it starts with your first step, and that means talking to him. And this might cause you some consternation. You don't know how to. How do you introduce yourself? How do you start talking? There's many instances in the Bible where reverence has been the focal point of prayer. It's a lot of piety. It's a lot of humility. It's a lot of genuflecting, showing reverence and respect. But there's also no instance in the Bible where they were really shown that a more casual approach is frowned upon. This is just the more formal aspect is just the stuff we see in the writings of the Old Testament and the New Testament. But that doesn't mean that God doesn't want you to talk to him in a way that makes you feel comfortable. He is a father figure to us. He is our father. So I think that in the best approach that I give is to speak to him as if you would to a father. Or if you don't have a father, or you have an estranged relationship, or a strange relationship with your father, think of a father-like figure that might be in your life, a mentor, somebody that you look up to and have a deep amount of respect for, and think of how you would talk to them, how you would open up to them. This would be a good approach and a good mindset to talking to God, because he is a superior being, and he is the reason where we can count all of the reason from which we can count all of our blessings. So a little bit of respect is in order. Now, me personally, prayer is something that I struggle with to do on a regular basis. There are some folks that you will meet that are just, we call them prayer warriors, where they're good at praying. They know when to do it. They've got that practice down. Me, I'm a little bit more airheaded about it, I guess, or absent-minded about it, I guess. But one of the things I try to do is when things are going well or things are going poorly, I make sure that I acknowledge that God is there to let him know that I'm thinking about him, whether I'm getting my way or I'm in a point where I'm struggling. He's that touchstone for me. As I've said in my first video, I've been a Christian all my life. I've never walked away from the faith. So I have a fair amount of experience in doing this. But again, it's something I still struggle with to do on a regular basis. And oftentimes I'll find myself, if I'm in a situation where I want something, or I feel like I need something, or I feel empathy for somebody who's going through something, that I want them to get a desired outcome, that I will pray to God for it. But I still feel a little bit selfish about it, just because I'm here asking for something. I'm not really bringing anything to it. It's just like, hey, imagine being somebody where the only time somebody talked to you was because they wanted something. You'd feel a little used after a while. I know I would. So I always try to put myself in other people's shoes when I'm having those discussions with them, and God is no different. Though I know when I really step back and think about it, I know that the time that I take out to talk to God and just express what I'm going through and the struggles that I'm having, I'm not necessarily asking for help, but it's just somebody to use as a sounding board or a or somebody to vent to. I don't necessarily need God to change my station. Me personally, I'm a very blessed person. My struggles aside, they can be very petty in the long run. They're my struggles, but I know that I've been given way more opportunity than many around me, and that I've been very lucky and blessed in my life, and that the person I have to thank most for it is God. He put me in the situation I am. He gave me the mind that I needed to navigate life the way it is, the other opportunities that I've been given. These are all things that I thank Him for, and I point to Him for. When I do something right, I do it because I took advantage of a skill set that was given to me, or a situation where I was able to make the best of it. Yes, I might have played a major role in it, but at the same time, again, I wouldn't have that starting point if I wasn't there in the first place. So it's always good to take time out, whether it's something that when you're being blessed, like what I've described, is just say, God, thanks for everything. Kid had a good day at school. Man, I'm really proud of my son. I'm so glad that you gave him to me, that you put him in my life. Man, my daughter, she's just a blessing every day. She says some of the most hilarious things, and she's just so innocent. I'm just so grateful that you put this girl in my life for me and my wife to enjoy. And that's just, things like that. Or you get a promotion at work, or not even maybe something that big, just something, you just had a really good day at work. Everything started to fall in the right places. You had the right answers. You were able to just pound out some work, and people were really appreciative of it. And you go, God, this was a really good day. I appreciate the opportunities I've been given, and the ability to have ability to make the most out of it, and just a little bit of gratitude, and talk about how it makes you feel. Maybe you're happy with the way you handled things. It's not bad to have a little bit of pride in your own actions. You should be proud. You should have a measure of pride in what you do, especially if you're doing the right thing. Now, on the other side, when things aren't going your way, maybe you've asked for something, but maybe you didn't get that promotion at work. Maybe you have a sick child, and they're just feeling awful, or maybe you've got a teenager that's in a rebellious phase, and they just said something just awful to you, and you just don't understand, what's going on. God's a person to go to where you say, God, I'm really struggling with what's going on around me right now, and I just don't understand how to do it. I'm frustrated with what's occurring, and I just need some relief. Now, the relief might come, and you might find it. And a lot of times, what I've found when you ask God for things, the answer comes in a subtle way, but one that is oftentimes unmistakable. I've got stories that I will share in the future where it's just things are the word serendipitous comes to mind. And the timing behind it is hard to it's hard to say that it wasn't divine intervention that played a role in things. So this is prayer. This is starting a relationship with God, is opening up your feelings, and remember, and trying to do it whenever it comes to mind. A lot of times, windshield time, driving home from work, before I'm going to bed, if I'm just listening to something and listening to music, or listening to a podcast or something, and the compulsion comes down to me where I start thinking about God. You just hey, how's it going? Thank you for everything. Having a great day. You've created a wonderful thing. I just want to acknowledge these things. Who wouldn't appreciate hearing that? He appreciates hearing that. Think of, again, we go back to the father figure or the mentor. How do you brighten their day? Well, what a father and what a mentor, if they're really worth their salt, They get joy out of your success or your happiness or your ability to rise above obstacles and just see you flourish, even when see you depend on them when you're at your worst, and see you hang on to them when you're at your best. They want that. God's no different. He's the penultimate example of it. He's the beginning of it all. So, of course, he's going to want to hear from you, whether you're angry or sad, whether you're happy. But, he doesn't try not to be disrespectful at all. And as we go through some of the more older stories in the Old Testament, the older accounts, you'll understand that there are several examples where folks are angry, and God understands it. God understands it, asks questions, and sometimes the folks are able to come away with a better point of view. So, if you like this, if you're having fun with it, if you want to hear more from me, and if you want to get more insights about this from just an average person, then hit like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Maybe you've prayed before in the past. Maybe you haven't had success. Maybe you have. Maybe you've got an account you want to share. I want to hear from you. I want to get an understanding of where you stand with things, and I want you to keep coming back for these videos. I want you to let me know how I'm doing and how it's impacting you, or maybe it's not impacting you at all. But keep coming back. I'd love to keep you informed and give you whatever insights I can. Have a good evening. God bless.